Book 25 of 2020 was Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. So this was a book club nomination, and just for some context, this book had been nominated 3 times at my book club, and each time I was like, please don't vote for that, please don't vote for that, because it sounded terrible. And because we only get 3 nominations and then that's it, the book can never get back in again, I think people voted for it, and so it got in and we had to read it. And I seriously contemplated not going to my book club, and I love my book club and I want to go to my book club, so that should tell you kind of what I initially thought of the way the book sounded. And I always research into it before I make my decisions, obviously, because that's just my personality. And I kind of saw somewhere that someone had said that it was a really, really good audiobook. And someone from my book club also posted on the group and said that it was really good on audio. So I was like, I've got some Audible credits, I've not listened to an audiobook for a while, you know, if it's awful, I can listen to it on double speed. So I bought it, and I am so glad that I did. And I'm so glad for book club, because I would never have picked to read this book, and I really liked it. From the second chapter, I was like, this book's great. At first, I was a little bit confused because I was just like, why is this a book? Because it's like an interview with people in a band. Like, this doesn't make any sense. But anyway, so I carried on listening to it, and I really liked the beginning how one of the journalist person that's doing it says that, you know, everyone's got a version of the truth, and what she's found is that the truth is actually in the spaces, and she does it a lot where there's different characters' perspective, and it kind of actually demonstrates that throughout, that it is actually in the spaces and that everyone does have a different version. And I really like that aspect of the book, which is in the first kind of half of it. And there's some kind of examples there to, you know, I can't get my words out, to real comic effect. So, for example, one of the characters is talking about the house that they're living in, and they're saying, oh, I was the only one that got a bathroom, like ensuite bathroom. And then the next person to speak is like, he had a toilet. And it was just really funny how it was like juxtaposed against each other. And so I really enjoyed that part of it. And I did find myself searching online for what the band looked like. And there was loads of pictures of this band. And I was like, oh, there's only 5 members in the band. And there's 7. Because basically there was a lot of characters I was finding difficult to kind of, you know, visualise who they were in the initial stage. So I was looking for a picture of them. And I thought, oh, maybe some of them leave and I don't want to spoil the story. So, you know, I'll leave it. So I carried on listening to it. And then they started talking about like the songs, and they were kind of, you know, describing the song. And I was like, why are these songs not playing? Like, oh, maybe they don't have the rights to them, and, you know, maybe that's why they can't. And so I thought, okay, I'll Google again, and I will look on, you know, YouTube, but there's no videos of them. I'm like, this band is nowhere. Like, why is there no record of this band? And then I looked on Spotify, and I was like, there's no songs either. Like, this is really strange. So I was Googling some more, and then I was like, mind blown. It's a fiction. It's not a real band. And I was convinced that this was a real band. And I mean, I imagine that the pictures on Google Images kind of misled me down the garden path, and this is probably why I thought they were a real band. But the characterisation is so good that they're like real people. Like, I felt like they were real people. And so for that reason, I thought it was great. And then I kind of understood then why the book was as it was, and why it wasn't just a journalistic kind of interview. And I wonder whether or not I would have enjoyed it if I'd have read it, because I had a look at like a Google Books like preview of the book and saw what it kind of looked like on the first page, and it did look a bit strange. And so I don't know if I would have got into it as much as I did on the audio. The audio is really, really good. It kind of brings all the characters to life because they're all narrated by different people, so it really feels like they're just being interviewed, which is great. And it was really good until it got towards the point where it was just focused on Daisy Jones and on Billy. who's part of the six, and it was focused more on them. And I kind of felt like it had lost that good part of looking at it from other people's perspectives. I mean, they were still kind of there, but they were kind of tropey at this point and kind of just like add-ons. They were kind of like, you know, ancillary to Daisy and Billy. And so at that point, I did kind of find it a bit repetitive and kind of lose interest in it a bit. But I can forgive that because it was so good that I thought that it was real. So I definitely recommend listening to it. I mean, obviously, you can try and read it. It might be as good, but I can't say whether it would be as good as listening to it because obviously I've only got the experience of listening to it. But I just thought it was great, and it's really kind of innovative of Jenkins Reid to do that, because I've never seen a book where it's been in a journalistic style like that before, because that's quite a postmodern thing to do. And so I thought that was really successful, and I would definitely read another of her books because I enjoyed this one so much. She's very good at characterisation, and it did feel, whilst, I mean, as well, it gave me kind of an insight into what it was like to be in a band in that era, which I think I've seen an interview of her talking about it, and she was saying how obsessed she was with that era. So I imagine that she's drawn on a lot of that to kind of, you know, show what the experience was like, because obviously she doesn't know for sure. So yeah, I definitely recommend to listen to it because I really enjoyed it. And I didn't think that I would.